Like any loving parent, God prepares His children for the journey. For over a year now, God has been preparing us for our next journey. God is telling AC3, put on your coat. Community, outreach, accountability, transcendence. COAT stands for the 4 big ideas God has called us to pursue. Now, community is just another way to say relationships. The Greek word in the New Testament, koinonia, is often translated fellowship. We're committed to enhancing our koinonia and sharing it. Community is such a high priority that we can't just add a program here or tweak a vision statement there. If AC3 is going to live up to the call of community, we must restructure the church. From a centralized program structure to a network community structure. Now, for decades, the program structure has worked well, but things are changing. People don't see church the same way anymore. Some say that church can make them feel like an employee or just another customer of a business. And COVID-19 has enhanced some of these effects. People are less likely to visit traditional weekly gatherings. People want interactivity, not just information. There is a desire for more collaboration with leaders. There is a hunger for relationships, not easily met in a 60-minute church service. There are countless entertainment options with which a church can't compete. Compete? For what? Well, your time and attention. American schedules are stretched to the limit. Our attention is now a commodity that corporations are fighting to gain and hold. Now, it might sound like we're planning to quit church services altogether, and some post-church movements have done exactly that. But we think God is guiding us to something more nuanced and richer. It's simply this. Our focus moves away from the big meeting so that the big meeting helps us focus on small groups. Flipping our priorities like this addresses all 6 of those challenges. Weekly gatherings are more accessible. Small groups get everyone engaged with the subject. We get to know one another better in a small group. Communication with staff and leaders flows both ways. You won't find divine and human connection like this anywhere else. And done right, groups aren't an obligation, but a source of life. Notice, none of the parts of traditional church go away. They just connect differently. Imagine a church that isn't defined by the big weekly meeting or a corporate-style structure, but is instead defined by a network of small groups, bound together by shared vision, values, and resources. Allen Creek will still have a big weekly worship gathering with great teaching, creativity, music, communion, and more. But the focus, the center of AC3's identity, rests in e-groups. E-group stands for extended group, meaning we extend the teaching, we extend the experience, and we extend our faith beyond the weekend service. E-groups meet weekly to explore in depth the sermon topic from that weekend and build relationships with God and each other. We encourage everyone who calls AC3 home to check out an e-group. We're not asking you to sign up for another program, another X on the calendar. We're offering an opportunity to do church differently. Church that's smaller, slower, and more personal. Think of it like this. With a program model, many people felt like they were on the outside looking in and serving the ministry. With a community-based model, like e-groups, people are fully inside a smaller version of church, and ministry more naturally flows out of those relationships. E-groups are places of peace and sanity that integrate what sometimes feels like church obligations into something simpler and life-giving. We want AC3ers to experience stronger connections to God and to one another, peace and sanity in an otherwise crazy world, and natural opportunities to serve our neighbors. So put on your coat and join us on the journey.